Game starts with someone heading forwards in a weird alien lookalike facility, and we hear a piece of radio messages from Dr. Helena Rosendahl of IAS research team stating that North Koreans have attacked the island, and then she says they found something buried in the rock that can change the future of the planet. Next thing, we see a plane flying over the Lingshan Islands. It's August 14th, 2020. Nomad and Prophet brief the rest of the team about the operation of what seemed to be a special force unit. They are here to evacuate Dr. Rosendahl, though during the freefall they speculate there's probably more than that. Suddenly Nomad is hit by something and he loses his suit. Fortunately, he falls into a water and his suit absorbs the impact. Turns out the team members are equipped with special nano suits that increase their abilities. Nomad receives an order to find Jester and head to Aztec's location. Turns out the team landed all over the place and Aztec is hanging on a tree as he also got hit by something when he was in the air. Soon he reports that he spotted an enemy patrol and we only hear sounds of battle over the rocks and Aztec screams for help through the radio. Nomad and Jester try to reach him, and on their way they find a Korean soldier dead bodies and Aztec who was butchered by something. Prophet remotely vaporizes Aztec as he doesn't want Koreans to get their hands on this technology. The suit make you run faster, jump higher, become invisible, etc, etc. But there is a catch and it's a limited amount of time until the battery goes low and the suit needs to recharge. Turns out there is a frozen ship wreckage lying next to the landing zone where Nomad meets the others. Psycho finds a map and Prophet decides to go to the place that was marked on it. But Psycho and Jester want some answers about what is really going on here. They're into an argument with Prophet, but it's interrupted by an attack of this alien-looking thing. It grabs Jester and leaves. Rest tries to go after the mysterious predator and soon they find Jester's body. Prophet swears that he doesn't know anything besides the intel they already got. They find a Korean post that was also butchered and overhear a radio message talking about a hostage being kept in a nearby village. Nomad is sent there to find the hostage. Hostage is a woman archaeologist claiming that something turned into pieces. One of her colleagues. She also informs that the rest is in the east of the helibase above the falls. She says that Rosendahl was excavating a statue in the jungle, but it turned out to be a transmitter that led them to the structure in the mountain, and Rosendahl thinks it's evidence of a dead civilization. This conversation is interrupted by a Korean armed division, so Nomad takes care of the tanks while Psycho evacuates the hostage. After dealing with the tanks, Nomad meets Prophet near the river. They take a road to the excavation site through the caves, but again they are attacked by Alien and it grabs Prophet. Major Strickland informs Nomad through the radio that they lost contact with Prophet. Nomad informs that Prophet is actually missing in action and he refuses on being extracted, deciding he can complete the mission alone. He battles through the jungle and reaches a North Korean compound. He clears it and sends a valuable intel to the headquarters that will help them to plan an assault on the island. He also gets the location of the excavation site. Soon he finds a research dome and reaches Rosendahl. Turns out he is on a video call with General Kyong. What Rosendahl found here is a carbon-based machine that predates humanity by 2 million years. Kyong insists on focusing on the temple they also discovered and Rosendahl warns him he shouldn't be opening it. Rosendahl's daughter Helena shows up on the screen and Doctor orders her to get out of there and stop the general because the fossils they found are still alive according to his readings. Nomad approaches Rosendahl and he tells him that Kyong has his daughter in the mountains and asks for help. So that explains why he is working for Kyong. The fossils activity disturbs the whole base and it produces a blinding light that freezes everything. Rosendahl gets frozen and Nomad informs the headquarters he is going to the relic they found in the mountains. Soon he reaches a landing zone where he is supposed to meet a VTOL, but when he tries to clear the place for landing he learns that Koreans are also equipped with nanosuits, though he points out they are less effective than the US ones. Nomad manages to clear the landing zone and gets picked up. He meets Psycho on the VTOL. They are about to be a part of a full-scale assault. Team is dropped along with the Marines. They take down the enemy AAs and mark the Korean cruiser for Air Force. Then, Nomad is ordered to drive a tank through the tunnel into the valley. That way he gets into the mining complex, and according to the intel he got, the hostages are held inside the mine. Kyung is probably also there. Nomad manages to break inside and soon he reaches Helena and Kyung, but an enemy soldier sneaks up on him and knocks him down. He wakes up overhearing Helena telling Kyung that something is transmitting signals into that structure, but he doesn't want to listen. Then the general spots Nomad and tells him that his nano suit has been disabled. Helena is concerned about the electromagnetic activity inside the temple, but Kyung is all about how great source of power he discovered, and he kills a guy who tries to explain him that it might be dangerous. And he also has a nanosuit, by the way. So Kyung blows up the chargers, and again, the room is filled with blinding lights. Nomad's suit gets activated and he is thrown away by the power of that light. Fight breaks out between him and Kyung, and Nomad kills him and then evacuates Helena. Nomad informs Helena that her father is dead and the cave starts collapsing. VTOL manages to fly down, but they only manage to grab Helena while Nomad must search for an alternative way. And while on that, he explores a mystical cave that looks like it is filled with advanced technology. And Nomad can see that the structure of this cave is not regular. He describes it as an almost organic. Soon Nomad starts to drift as gravity seems to not be working here, and he gets approached by a mysterious creature, but it doesn't attack him and just moves away. Then he reaches a large chamber and there are more creatures that get more hostile about his presence and he's actually getting attacked. So he moves quickly, and in the other chamber he spots something that looks like a DNA stream that connects everything here. Finally he reaches an entrance to a weird black tunnel that has pushed him to the main chamber, where he spots that those creatures have an army of machines there. He gets spotted and attacked by a group of aliens and barely makes it out alive, but he finds an exit of this facility and gets back the radio signal. While he's about to get picked up by a VTOL, the machines attack and crush it. After that, everything gets covered in ice and snow. Nomad is on his own, but he gets coordinates to the evac point. He runs through the mountains, trying to avoid those machines. On his way, he found some Marines, and they are not in their top shape. He informs Strickland about them, and he says he lost 2 platoons up here. And their conversation is interrupted by the attack of the machines, but Prophet pops out of nowhere and saves Nomad. Turns out, not only he is alive, but also he managed to get his hands on one of those alien guns that is highly effective on them. Temperature is so low, only their suits keep them alive, but Prophet's suit is damaged, and he says it might not hold down for too long. So they move fast, racing with time and aliens who try to kill them. They manage to get across the bridge and reach a safe place. Strickland tells them to make their way down to the valley, as it is too risky to pick them up from where they were. But luckily they found the vehicles they can use to get there faster. On their way they spot a VTOL being shut down. Turns out Helena was on it, and she's the only one that survived the crash. Strickland tells Nomad to go and help her, so they drive to the crash site and reach Helena, who is trapped inside the wreckage. Nomad holds on the aliens while Prophet opens the wreckage and rescues Rosendahl. Strickland sends them a VTOL. Helena and Prophet get on it, but Nomad stays and says that he will lay down suppressing fire so they can safely take off. He reaches the evac point on his feet, and turns out there's a huge battle going on there. Nomad uses the alien gun that Prophet has given him earlier and holds the aliens while others get evacuated until Strickland personally orders him to get on a VTOL and tells that he will deal with that huge-ass alien that glows like it was a Griswold's house in Christmas Vacation movie. And while the overloaded VTOL flies away, Nomad watches how Strickland actually sacrificed himself for the rest. During the flight, pilot gets hit and the VTOL gets attacked by aliens, and though Marines manage to handle the enemy without being shot down, Nomad must take the steers from this point. Since the engine is damaged, he must maintain a low altitude while flying through the valley. And while he tries to deal with that, Psycho reports informing that Prophet and Helena reached the coast safely. Finally, Nomad makes it to that US cruiser, and Helena is happy to see him. She shows him that Psycho managed to bring in a part of that alien machine. It looks dead, but all of a sudden it awakens and makes a little mess, but it lasts only a few seconds. Helena tells Nomad that those things can absorb energy from nearby power forces. Then Nomad goes to see the Admiral. He is impressed by Nomad's job and reveals that video feed from his suit convinced the government to use nuclear missiles on the island. Helena says that might not be the best idea because we don't know anything about those things, but Admiral tells her that the decision has already been made by the president. He also explains that about a week ago they detected abnormal heat signatures from that island. At first they suspected that Koreans were testing nukes, but 4 days ago NASA picked up the high-frequency signal emanating from the mountain, and the beacon is directed at the star somewhere in the galaxy M33, almost 4 million light-years away from Earth. Helena points out that this thing inside the island is probably biological and it feeds on power, and it's a risk to drop a nuke on it. But Admiral still doesn't want to listen. Later Nomad meets Prophet and Helena in the armor laboratory. While Helena wants to run some tests on Nomad's suit, Prophet grabs a gun and leaves, explaining that he knows this nuke won't even scratch the surface. Meanwhile, Helena has an idea to program Nomad's suit into an effective weapon against aliens, basing on a theory she has, as she identifies a signal pattern used by one of those creatures when they recharge. Meanwhile, Prophet steals a VTOL and flies back on the island, but that doesn't stop Admiral from dropping a nuke on it. And it rather worked as a high-protein meal for this freezing sphere that was hanging over the island, as it got a few times bigger. And aliens went crazy and attacked the US ship immediately. Nomad gets knocked down for a second, but as soon as he gets up, Admiral sends him to fight with aliens. He helps defending the deck and helps engineers trapped at the lower decks. He also tries to stop the reactor from overheating due to the fire on board, but it turns out the cooling rats are jumped and aliens shows up and start to drawing the power from the reactor. Helena connects and she sees a perfect chance to test if her idea of overloading aliens with Nomad's nanosuit works, and it works like a charm. Nomad manually lowers the cooling rats, and that saves the reactor from exploding. Then he takes a prototype weapon gun they have on this ship and heads on the deck to help Helena, who is surrounded by aliens. Well, at this point, the whole place is overtaken by those creatures. Though the Admiral wants everyone to stay and fight, he soon gets killed, so everyone just decides to abandon ship as quickly as possible. Nomad uses the prototype weapon to fight the huge-ass machine that crawls over the deck, with Helena remotely sending signals through his suit to weaken the damn thing. After a tough battle, Nomad manages to put it down. But then, the alien ship shows up, a huge one, and Nomad tells everyone to evacuate with a VTOL while he will stay and try to take the ship down. But Helena and Psycho decide to stick around and try to help Nomad, who fights the ship with a rocket launcher, but it doesn't work well as it has a shield. So again, with the help of Helena, they manage to take down those shields and destroy the ship, so finally they can fly away safely. And the explosion of the ship is so huge that it actually creates a small ice sphere, and its power starts to suck down their VTOL, and Helena almost falls down, but Nomad grabs her in the last second, and sinking cruiser weakens the power of that energy source. Helena says that the US fleet is already on their way here, but Nomad tells everyone that since they found a way to fight with those aliens, they need to stay and fight. And Psycho picks up transmission from Prophet, who seems to be inside the sphere on the island. Nomad tells Psycho to lock on his position and get back on that island immediately to help Prophet. And that's how the game ends.